Welcome to SwarmCast, the marketing hive for pest control pros from coast to coast. If you're tired of your competition bugging you and want to grow your business like a well-built colony, you're in the right place. Each episode, we'll break down the latest marketing trends, expert insights, and proven strategies to help you exterminate the competition and keep your phones buzzing. So strap in, pest bosses. It's time to swarm the market and take your business to the next level. This is SwarmCast.
And welcome to the SwarmCast. We have Jonathan Willis and Wes Schroeder. AI sell more. You know, a lot of people like to blame their salespeople for their successes, but we're going to talk about right here how you can use a new tool that's in the industry that's AI focused to drive real results. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for making the time, jumping in the studio today. And we are going to talk about AI, how it's being used in sales, particularly. Not that it all has to be sales, but let's talk about role play. If you're in sales, you've role played. So, Jonathan, let's talk about what we got here. What does your product do?
So what our product does is it replaces that repetitive role playing that's so crucial. Because at the end of the day, role playing is how you learn how to do something. You make mistakes. We kind of refer it to as that's the place to become bulletproof, if you will. And you think about bulletproof, it's funny with bulletproof. I don't know if you know where the word came from, but in the 1500s, they had guns started to come on the market. You know, they were using firearms in the field to start with. And the word bulletproof came from the armor makers, because what they would do is they would make this armor for these soldiers, and they would shoot it to prove that the bullet wouldn't go through it. So you would never buy a piece of armor unless it had dings in it being bulletproof. So that's where bulletproof came from. And the concept behind what AI, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I'd never heard that before. Now I got the background. Thanks for that. That's good.
Right. Absolutely. So the concept of what we're trying to do is get our people to be bulletproof before they get in the line of fire in the field, right? And so what does it do is it's an avatar, it's PC driven or Mac, obviously from an iOS perspective. But essentially what happens is you're on your computer, you're communicating with an avatar that's been trained to be a homeowner. Now, if it's in sales, that homeowner is going to be trained to give you typical sales objections, for example. Not right now, I'm busy, we have somebody else, whatever that might be. So we build out the persona for the AI avatar, which in our world we call him Scotty C. So Scotty C is our avatar. We build him out. He could be a person who just moved into an area. He could be a person that has called in, is trying to get prices from multiple companies, and essentially acts just like a homeowner would when he calls in to get pricing, or if you were to go to his door, it acts just like it. And so that's what it does. It records it. You go through the scripting. It's got all types of things like double checking to make sure that you're on script. Goes through and looks for what I'm doing right now, filler words, the word or ah. It's going to go and look for those and highlight those in the transcript. But more importantly, it's also recording it. So from a leadership perspective, you're able to role play over and over and over, and the leadership can come back in and look at the score of it, because it'll score it based on how close you were to the scripting. The avatar won't let you get through the process just to let you get through. You know, you're setting up the scenario. Don't let the person, give me a quote unless they ask 3 times, or whatever it is you're trying to focus on. And so it really makes you dive down in. It's very realistic. And so that is what the tool does.
And I saw this in progress, and I started laughing when you were saying it's counting the ums and the word whiskers. That reminded me of Toastmasters. Were anybody, you guys in Toastmasters?
Toastmasters, very familiar with what it is, but never in officially.
So I was the guy that was clicking the clicker when somebody was doing a or that kind of stuff to help somebody get better at speaking. So this is doing that. It's scoring that.
Absolutely, it's going to highlight all those for you as well. Wes dives into the some of the scoring models and stuff. If Wes, you probably have some better insight into that part of it.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I'll take notes too if there's anything that I want to remember, Wyatt. But you had mentioned it's built around, or rather, it won't let you get through the role play, and so it's important to note that the reason it won't is if you have a desired outcome, the desired outcome is going to be built around the scripting that you have in your sales process. So if you're not hitting the points that it scores you on, which you set all of that, again, based on your internal processes. So if you, specifically want to, ask the prospect a specific question and you don't do that, the AI is smart enough to just kind of keep giving you the runaround, and you'll never actually get to the final destination that you're looking for unless you're following company process. So just to flesh that out a little bit, again, building the scorecards, that's all however you want it to be. So, and you can add context to that. So again, someone calls in and they're looking to cancel their pest control, having to ask a specific set of questions. And if you don't touch on all of those questions, then based on, again, your own company's internal processes, you might get a 75% because you missed one or two questions that are going to be crucial to ask every customer that's wanting to cancel.
Now, I have to say, most salespeople are going to want to free ball it, right? And they just want to roll with it. They don't want to do that kind of stuff. So there's like, hey, there's no value to role play. I've heard salespeople say that. Why are we doing this? I'm a professional sales guy. You just nailed it. You want to follow a process, because when people cancel their pest control, give me an idea. What might be the process when somebody goes, hey, man, I just want to cancel this. What would your engine maybe show or train them to do?
Jonathan or me?
Would it be like, hey, sorry you feel that way. Is there anything we can fix right now? And oh, by the way, for scenarios like this, we're allowed to offer a free month, or we're allowed that kind of stuff. So does the engine take that kind of stuff and roll with it?
100%. Yeah. So one of the cool ways to do it too is we'll just build a transcript out, and the AI is smart enough to take from the transcript and then kind of create itself in some ways, and then we tweak it on the back end, if that makes sense. So yeah, for our process, definitely, putting in the clarifying questions. Why are you calling to cancel? Has there been any problems? Internally, we like to joke around with our customers a lot. That's just kind of the atmosphere that we built with our people, and they enjoy it. So, and again, you can actually build that into the AI too. So, wait, you want to cancel? No one cancels with us. They're either dying or moving, and you're on the phone with me. Where are you moving to?
Yep, that's actually our scripting.
If you want to,
That's what I was laughing at, because when I was hearing Jonathan at AZB PPO, he was running how to save it or do this or that. I just started laughing, like that's what you need. You need guys that have some grit, that are going to work around it, not high pressure, but hey, this is how we can make it right. I can't tell you how many deals I've saved by saying, hey, we're going to make this right, whether you stay with us or not.
Yeah.
Like just
absolutely.
That's the policy. We're going to make it right before we leave, or we're going to give you an offer that you can't refuse.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny.
You know why?
There's different.
Why when you have scripting is very much like telling a joke. You have a certain amount of time to get the message across, and you got to get to the point. And so when you think in terms of employees who are getting on the phone, they might have listened to 100 calls. They might even role played 15 times, 20 times, 30 times. When they get on the phone call and all of a sudden they've got the, well, let me check. Now the joke isn't going to have the same punchline. And so the concept behind this is that they're able to role play and role play and role play instead of dropping to that, I don't know what to say, let me check, that sort of thing. They've gone through it dozens and dozens and dozens of times, so that it's not a matter of trying to learn how to do it right. It's a matter of doing it so well they can't get it wrong when they get live, when there's money on the line.
So this,
if I can just add into that too, real quick. Sorry, Wyatt. Just, you mentioned salespeople saying, why do I need to role play? I've been in sales literally since I was 15 years old. I mean, in college, through college, and up until now. And every good salesperson that I've ever seen had a script that they followed. I started off in mortgages in a whole nother lifetime, and all of the best people, they said the same thing every time, whether they were following a company script or their own. And so for anyone to poo-poo role playing, all you're basically doing is, you're kind of saying that the script that I've built in my head, maybe through my experience, is what I rely on. But for someone who's new, that's impossible. For someone who doesn't really know sales, how can you possibly get to that level of expertise without wasting leads and wasting prospects? And so the only way to do that is, as you know, is to practice, and you have two ways to do that. You're with a manager, or now with AI roleplay.
When I went up to your booth, I saw that there was a video screen, but this isn't a chat scenario. You're actually talking in real time to an avatar.
Yeah.
and it's providing that
Correct.
real time feel. I mean, that was amazing to me. It's like, okay, I'm talking to AI. Okay, I know that, but it's throwing out real objections. And as you're responding, it's recording and it scores it. I mean, okay, I got to ask, who came up with this idea, and how long ago did you start on this? Because AI is only, who worked on this thing? Who started this idea?
Great question. Well, we came up with it because we were having issues in our scaling. Our security business, we're ADT dealer. We've been a top 10 dealer many years. So we were operating at this time in 7+ states with reps all over the place, managing our business via Zoom for sales meetings. So you don't have an office for every single person that's on your team. So how do you get them to role play? Well, we were role playing on Zoom. They role play with their friends, their family, the dog, whoever the heck would listen to them. But when you role play it wrong, you get good at being wrong. So at the end of the day, and if you think about role playing, and role play, I go over the script with you, you sit there and listen to me, and then you go, all right, so John, you remember your first sentence, you got it wrong. I don't remember my first sentence. I was busy role playing with you. My brain was trying to talk to you. What do you mean I wasn't smiling? I thought I was smiling the whole time. So what happens is, because this is recording what's happening, you go back and watch. What was I smiling? You self-coach. You don't need the manager to do all the coaching. You self-coach. Oh gosh, I noticed I wasn't smiling. I'm going to do a new one where I am, so I don't get in trouble or so that I get better. But to answer how we got there is that we were scaling our business, and we saw a couple of things happening. And this is happening to every industry. I think you had on Seth Wilson talking about virtual assistants on your show not long ago. And he pointed out, he was like, look, we're trying to hire people. You can't get them hired, right? I think he was talking a little bit about his virtual assistant stuff, which is great. I love his concept with it. But essentially, getting people hired has been crazy. Half the people won't even show up to an interview. And then the other half come into training, and they're in there 2-3 weeks before you realize they don't know what they're doing, or they haven't actually put the work in. I mean, think about a normal training class. You come in, you kind of take a water hose of information at you right away, right? And then you're supposed to practice it and learn it. Well, you're also getting paid in many cases to do that. So we would have people coming into our business and 3 weeks in barely be getting through stuff. It takes normally 45+ days on the security side and about 30 days on the pest side for someone to go from new to sounding like they know what they're talking about with some confidence. Now, that's been in the past. Now, we're able to do two things. Number one, we're able to get people to sound like they know what they're doing and be bulletproof and have better confidence within a few days, definitely within a week on either product. But more importantly, we're getting rid of all the paycheck pirates. And the paycheck pirates are the ones that would come in, sit through training class, not go home and do the homework, not go learn the scripts, not practice the scripts. Basically, they're there for the training pay while they're interviewing for their next training pay job. And we would see that happening over and over and over. And literally, that was the beginning of this. And so we wanted to figure out a way to do things better for ourselves. And so we started looking around, how could AI work? How could this work? And there was a ton of products out there. I think you had Ka on a while ago. Ka's product that, they've got a great product. It's going to answer the phones, like they're picking up calls after hours. That's great. So that works good. But there's two things that were with that weren't good for us in our business at the time of what the problem we were trying to solve. Number one, we don't want to replace people with AI. I think that's a scary thing for people right now, especially in the pest industry. Pest industry is it's a fragmented industry, a lot of old timer players that don't want to have anything to do with this. And, the differences and the thing that makes businesses grow are people. And so we wanted to find a way to take AI and make people better with it. So we were doing it to stop the bleeding on the paycheck pirates. We were doing it so that we would put better people in the street faster. And to be honest with you, we were both exhausted and burned out from role playing with one more person. You think about all that leadership time. So we looked into software that was out there over the market, that was on the market doing AI. And we said, well, why can't we use it as a training tool instead? And why can't we transition it from call centers to being face-to-face with camera and allowing people to really dive into all the nonverbal skills that you could watch and see? And so that's how it came about, is necessity, right? Necessity is the mother. And we needed it. I will tell you that within 30 days, our paycheck pirate costs was down by $6,000 a month within 30 days of even putting in the initial stuff. And we started this last year. When we started this coming up on a year ago, and went through several different development phases. We found a partner Olag had built this model out for typical call center environments, right? And so we worked with him to really fine tune it to be home services, to be face-to-face communication, or in call center for practices. But we took our experience and plugged it into his coding, and that's what we came out with.
That's fantastic. Now, so what I'm hearing is, and our primary audience here is PCOs. So when they come on and they're like, man, I don't want a paycheck pirate. I don't want to pull that guy through my system and just rotate him out. This sounds awesome to me. And I'm thinking about not only the big guys, right? There's a lot of big guys that need this like yesterday. What about the guy that has 5 trucks and sales will make or break that pest control company. And when you say days to bring up to speed, they might be a seasoned tech, but don't know the business that, okay, what's the stick or what's the sales propositions here with this company, this flag I'm under. This is going to bring them up. And I hear days. Do they sit in front of this thing every day for a week? What do they do?
Wes, once you run through what our training, Wes manages the all the back end and the training for us. So what is your current regiment when someone comes through training? Where do you implement this? And sorry to be asking the questions for you, but I think he knows it better than I do.
No, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, I mean, it took some experimentation at first. Frankly, at first it was kind of get one part of the script down and use this tool until you know it tomorrow. That was too intimidating for people. So, quite frankly, we might have lost a couple of people due to that, but what we really zeroed in on was just having a set number of practice. Just like, if you're going to get better at free throws, most people don't have any problem, at least the good ones, drilling until they get it right. So they might not be there all night, but they're going to do 50 free throws or 100. So we would typically have people do at least 10 of a specific part of a sales process. And that's usually enough to get them relatively 50 to 60% fluent by the next day. Just 10 role plays with the AI. And then thereon, we're going to add on, this is just how we work, right? Just depends on how detailed your sales process is. But then we'll add on another little part of the sales process. And then you have to drill that 10 times, but then you have to drill Monday's work 5 times. And so the thing about this too is the way it can stop these paycheck pirates is if they're not doing the work, if they're not willing to even practice, which you can monitor at the dashboard, we would just have someone from, one of our assistants kind of check in on them. And if they haven't done 5 role plays by, 5 p.m., are they really going to do 10 by the next morning? No. And so by day 2, quite frankly, if they're not willing to actually drill and do the practice to get where they need to be successful, then it's just a hard but really easy conversation. Do you really want to do this? Is this, something that you want to move forward on? But as far as again, just issuing the workload, just depends on your individual sales process. But for us, it was 10 on the first day. You take that same piece, you do 5 each day thereafter in training, and then you add a little bit on with that 10 model. And by the end of a week, they sound like they've been doing it for 2 months.
That's amazing. And so it's scoring them. The managers know that, hey, this guy is up to speed. He's doing well. There's no guessing. Right? There's no guessing.
Check in on the videos. Sorry to overtalk you there, Wyatt, but you can check in on the videos on the dashboard as well. And you don't need to check every single video because they're going to get better as they do it, right? So you check on the last 2 or 3 videos just to make sure that it's getting better as it goes, and provide any feedback as necessary. The AI will do it as well. But if there's any feedback that the manager would want to give, and it just saves a ton of time for that manager.
And I'm thinking, most of these guys, they'll just do a 1 sales training and expect these guys to kind of pick it up in the field, right? Yeah. They'll just, hey, we're going to spend a day on.
If you got enough money to spend that way, sure.
You're going to blow through a lot of leads. You're going to blow through a lot of opportunities. And that's the point, right? We want the results to be, let's make our faster onboarding or offboarding, less turnover and stronger. Yeah.
Just as important, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of tests you can take out there that says, hey, this is a guy he can sell, right? There's tests out there you can do right now. There are
Yeah, we
quite a
use
few
them.
guys that, yeah, it's like before we even pull them to this point, we've already qualified them. At least the criterion's there. Now we pull them to this because we've hired them, and we're just going to get them fired up and doing what they need to do quicker. So, you know, people aren't role playing in these companies. They just put them out there in the field. Like a lot of the companies I went to, I'm talking about big companies. They weren't really role playing, or they do it one day. But here you can keep doing it over and over. And you're recommending it, Wes. I mean, it's like that's part of the program. We're going to role play it until they have a competency, and then if their sales start dropping, you take them right back. I'm assuming that, okay, hey, your close rates dropped from 80%. Now you're back down to the 40s. What happened? We're going to go ahead and role play you. Maybe they're trying to free it again, right?
It's always
Yeah,
blowing
we
us
use it
away.
as part of a we use it as part of our PIP or our personal improvement program. Is that what you're gonna say, Wes, is part of the process? They slump, basically. Yeah, well, first of all, everybody's gonna have some dips. There's no way around it. Like that, sales is cyclical, and you're gonna have up and downs. Feast or famine. It's the way it is. And the goal is to try to get those hills smaller and smaller. And so, somebody like in our world, if they go out and they go 2 or 3 days without a sale, that's a big deal. So by the third day, if they're relatively new, we've probably assigned a role play. Now, we're not just talking about a role play at the door script. I mean, we've got a role play at the door. We've got the role play for the in-home presentation. You've got role play that's defined for just your closes. Everything we do is scripted. Everywhere in the country, no matter where we're at, if you meet one of our people, their description of what we do, how it's done, is in the same order, the same way. Now, they have their own personalities built into that, of course. But to scale, you have to be able to have consistency, and you have to be able to measure it. And, I wanted to mention, I had a note here, start talking about role playing. It's not just role playing. The worse than role playing is doing bad role playing. Reinforcing, you're tired as a manager and you got 10 guys under you. How much time do you really have to role play? And by the way, if you tell them 1 or 2, 3 times, like, we'll do this differently, how do they capture that? They're supposed to remember it. So it makes it really difficult. So what you're doing is you're not just role playing with somebody. They're role playing, but they're self-critiquing. So unlike a regular role play, if I role played with you 10 times on a script and then we tried to do it and we did nothing but a little bit of feedback between each other, we might get to 60% quality on that. But if you role played 10 different times with AI, and when you're done with it, you reviewed your script, you reviewed where you were off, you reviewed your facial expressions, the next time you do it, you're incrementally going to get better. So by the time you've done 10 times, compared to doing traditional role playing, even it's so much better because I'm privately coaching myself. Now I'm not dealing with tough conversations and dealing with leadership issues because I think I'm doing something you tell me I'm not, right? Like that all comes into play in leadership. So it's extremely effective because they self-coach themselves as well.
And I really wanted to speak to just sending people into the field. And I know so many places do it. I don't need to call anyone out, but think about, in the age of online reviews and you don't really know what someone's saying, you do a couple hours of role play and then you just send them in the field. And how are they going to present themselves to the public? Part of what this can offer is knowing exactly the message that you want delivered to the public so that it's going to be, one of professionalism and saying, what you want your company to be saying to people out there because you're being represented by your sales force, right?
That's a good point. I mean, how many times does salespeople lie or say something they shouldn't be saying just to get the sale?
Yeah.
And that just bites them in the butt.
That's a gray area. It's a gray area. I think there's pieces to that, right? Like, I don't think it's very often that a sales guy point blank just goes, I'm going to lie to do this. And I'm saying they are out there. We all know it.
Sure.
But I think happens a lot more often is misinformation. It wasn't that I lied to you about the term of the agreement. It's that I explained it and you didn't quite understand it, or it didn't resonate properly. Well, that's because you were explaining it as an agreement for a few months or 12 months or whatever it is. And our script said it this way. So you can't correct that, if you don't have those mechanisms in place. And I think, a lot of times sales guys, of course, get a bad rap. It's them and us. The sales guys go out and they lie and do it, and the tech comes back and tells them how bad the sales guy is. And any industry that's got tech and sales, that happens. But what happens with us is our techs, they have their own scripts and they follow them, and our reps, they have their own scripts and they follow them. And you know what? They trust each other. We don't deal with as much back and forth as we used to years ago, because we can ensure our tech staff know this is what we're doing. Literally, here, watch his video. You can see it right here. This is what he does every single time, right? Tech-wise, no, they're not talking bad about you guys. Here's what they say. And so you kind of have a level of trust between departments when everybody's held accountable.
Love it. The disruption that you guys are bringing to this space, like, I don't see anybody else doing this. I've never seen this before. Now, they might be out there, but you're bringing it to the market in the pest control industry. Now, tell me about what's next, right? You've got the suite product. It's out there. It's new. Tell me what's next. What are you guys going to add to this thing?
So well, to that point, a couple of things. One, there are some other product types like this out there.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's not that difficult to go out and code, right? But it's like it's like the tools in my garage. Okay, I've got a ton of tools in my garage, right? So the technology's out there. But I'm only going to use about 20 or 30 of those tools on a regular basis, because I probably don't even really know how to use half of them. So I've got all these unique tools, but I only use 20 or 30. And I think that that's a lot of what SAS in general has an issue with. So yeah, you can have someone create a role play software for you, but if they're not already in the industry, if they're not already specific to the issues that face your business, then it's like my garage. You got way too many tools and you don't use them. And I think that's where we really add value, is that we're from the home services industry. We've uniquely tooled these, and we set each of our clients up specific to their processes. If they're missing processes, we help them fill in those blanks as well. So what are we doing next? Wes, talk a little bit about some of the other features we've got coming out here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So different languages are going to be coming out, custom avatars, custom voices, things like that. So right now, we just got kind of the basic one, but that's going to be coming out as well. And then also gamification is something that we're working on behind the scenes as well. So again, it's right for that. It's just not built into the software quite yet, but being able to create that kind of gamified model within a sales team, and possibly even offer rewards based on who's getting the best role plays and whatnot. That's what we're looking at next.
Yeah, there is a global
leaderboard.
Yeah, there is. And there's kind of a global leaderboard that's built in. But to get it company specific is where we're headed. And getting it company specific is great, because if nothing else, they'll role play and stay on script just so they can win. And inadvertently, oh my gosh, they're getting better every time they do it.
It would be neat to see what their score is on this game board and what the actual revenue that they're producing out in the field. And then you have people going, that's where I need to be. That's what we're trying to do, right? Make it fun, reward them for it, and show them a little peer-to-peer, competition that usually stirs it up pretty good. That's awesome. So
that's a great takeaway. Connect that score to the revenue. I love that.
Connect it. Tell a story. We have pest control owners. They're like, man, I really love what's being said here. I haven't seen it. These guys are talking a good game. What's next? Do they need to, how would somebody proceed? What would they do with this?
Well, I don't want to turn this into just a sales presentation, because I want people to get something out of it, right?
Sure.
As far as we needed this internally. And I know, as we're smaller operators on our pest side, larger on the security, smaller on the pest. We use this, and in the period of using this, we've 10x'd our pest business over 3 years. And one of those years, we've had this in play. And so we've become more profitable by using it. So what do you do for the steps to do it? It's really simple. You can reach out and go to the website, aisellmore.com. Reach out to us. I'm sure contact information will be, how do they do that? The kids in the link below. So we'll have that in the link below.
Subscribe now.
Right. Subscribe now. Push that subscribe button. So just reach out to us. We'll have an open dialogue with you. If you're in a situation where you're going, well, I don't really know my sales process yet. Like, they're talking sales process and I'm not sure what they mean, or scripting. What do you mean scripting? I don't want to sit there and write everything right out. Well, we've been doing this long enough that if we have a dialogue with you, we can help you refine the basics of those. If you really want us to go in and do a full consulting and help, we can certainly offer that. But ultimately, if you kind of have an idea of where you're going, we can help you structure that and then plug the AI role play to support it and train it. We have a client that is an Orchid franchisee, and I spoke to a young lady at their office just a couple of days ago before this podcast. And I called her up, and I think her name was Denise, I want to say. And I said, hey, how's it going? I explained who I was. Oh, you guys are the role play people, huh? I said, yeah. How long have you been there? She goes, well, just a couple of months. I said, well, then you've come in since you did. She goes, yeah. I mean, it's crazy how real it is. I mean, it got me ready to be on the phone. I felt more confident. I mean, it was like she was giving me a commercial, which it was great to hear. I mean, here's a frontline employee answering a phone, feeling more confident because they went through it. I guess you could even take a look at Seth Wilson's, group. If you hire a virtual assistant, you want to do it. What a great way to make sure they're on track with your process. I mean, it's done online. It can be done anywhere. I love it. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, you did say Orkin. We have a mastermind member that I would love, and we've talked about this. We do our one-on-ones. I'm like, hey, have you looked at the AI role play guys? Right. So I'm going to put you in contact with her. Jenny Cash is her name. And what's neat is you already have the scripts for Orkin, I guess. So that could be cross, platform with these franchisees. Who knows?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. At the end of the day, it's a fragmented small industry. Not any one of us has enough money, at our levels in general to go spearhead our own internal programs like this. They're ultra expensive. So having a business like ours that's kind of gone over the learning curve with it, I mean, it just makes it so valuable. And I think that's the big thing. Again, it goes back to that like SAS model where you're paying for software. And I've got, I think we use fields called field routes. It used to be pest routes. I can tell you there's dozens and dozens of things in there. I don't even know how to work them. So it's this great tool that I don't use. And I bet that if an owner of a pest control company had set me up on it and helped me go through it, that I'd be using all the tools I need. And so that's really what we bring to the table is it's going to be customized for them. It doesn't matter if you got, 5 people or 50 people. We've been in both scenarios. So we can help you hold your hand through it. It's not crazy expensive. I mean, it's for the money you're spending, you're going to save that money if you're trying to hire people for sure. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I love what you guys are doing with this tech. Not just talking about theory. Here it is in play, role play in your business. This is going to be great. We're going to have you visit our mastermind on a virtual session. We have our mastermind intensive coming up in Arizona in November. I'd love to have you guys come down because you're in Phoenix, right? You're up in Phoenix.
Yeah,
is what I remember.
I'm in Phoenix.
Okay.
Wes is in Nashville, but awesome. Yeah, we certainly travel. No doubt about that.
That's awesome. This will be great to have you guys come down and talk more about this in a real life. I love what you had where you're showing the technology in play. It's just, if you're a sales trainer, I'm a sales trainer, and watching this just made me laugh. And it's like, okay, I get it. And I'm like, we're going to do something in the future. Here it is. We're doing our podcast today. This was fun. Thanks, guys, for joining today. This was really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
That's a wrap on this episode of SwarmCast. Thanks for tuning in and arming yourself with the marketing firepower to keep your pest control business thriving. Before you scurry off, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave us a review. It helps us spread like a well-placed bait station. Got a topic you want us to tackle? Drop us a line and let's keep the conversation buzzing. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strategic, and keep swarming the market.